I think this month's TBR is one of the worst we've had in forever. So 24 hours, try and get it done so we can mood read and enjoy this month. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I set out the challenge to try and tackle my TBR within a 24-hour timer readathon, because my TBR this month is one of the worst we've ever had, and it's my birthday month, so I do not want to spend too much time on this. Now let me run through what books we've got contending in this video, and then I can tell you the plan. So we've got Kiss and Don't Tell by Megan Quinn. This is a sports romance. I've heard mixed things. I'm intrigued by the series, so this is one that I'm not concerned about reading. And also another one that is I'm happy about, there's two on the TBR that I'm like excited for, is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This one will not be featured in this video, and Kiss and Don't Tell I don't think will be either, but depends on timing. Catching Fire will not be featured in this video because The Hunger Games, if you've been around for a little while, The Hunger Games is having its own reading vlog dedicated to reading all of The Hunger Games and watching all of the films, so I won't be reading this one in this video, but this is another honourable mention for my TBR. So now that we've got the two books that I'm actually happy about out of the way, we're left with these four monstrosities. In all fairness, two of them are thrillers, and I actually enjoy thrillers. I'm just not intrigued by either of these. The Trial is about a clinical drug trial, and it just hasn't called for me. I've had it for quite a while. It's never called for me, but do you know what? We're gonna get it read in this video, hopefully. And well, this month it's being read because it is on my TBR, and I'm a stickler for a list, so I'm hoping to obviously throughout the year complete all of my TBRs. So this one is about a drug trial. I don't know any more than that. It is about 366 pages, so I'm hoping with it being a thriller it will be kind of fast paced and we can get through it quite quickly and I can like get into the story. I'm hoping. This one I have the audiobook for on Spotify, but I feel like potentially, because from what I've seen just flicking through, there's lots of different POVs. With it being a clinical trial, I'm guessing we're going to be following multiple different POVs. This one might be easier to physically read, and so that is the plan for this one. We've then got Liar by Leslie Pierce. This one is about a reporter. So it says on the back, Amelia White didn't expect her career as a reporter to start like this, by finding a young woman's body just around the corner from her shepherd's bush bedsit, and with rumours already spreading about the poor murder victim, she seizes her chance to write the true story. So we're following someone trying to be their own personal detective. I have this one on audiobook, so this one will be picked up via the audiobook, and hopefully again I will enjoy this one and get into it. This one is 400 pages, no, not quite, maybe not quite. This one is 368 pages, so again not that long. Both the thrillers are about the same length. This one also has beautiful kind of nice big writing, so I can imagine it will be quite a short and fast audiobook, and The Trial as well hopefully shouldn't take me that long to read once I'm into the story. Thrillers generally I read quicker on audiobook because I get hooked in quite quickly. Because of the speed that I listen to my audiobooks in, I get to plot points quite quickly, whereas when I physically read them it takes that little bit longer to get into. So those are the two thrillers. We're not starting with the thrillers, we are going to start with the other two books because we've got two fantasies, which if you've been around for a while you know is not my thing. This one is a romantasy, and I got this one from my book box. It is beautifully written inside, like the font and stuff, so I'm hoping it'll be a nice kind of reading experience with that in mind. And this is quite a long one. This is 422 pages, and I believe it is the start of a series as well, so if I like it obviously there might be a series around it, but I'm not sure. In this one you are following Dorian, whose greatest ambition is to sail the open seas. His dreams have overtaken his days, and the closer his ascension to the throne looms, the further into harbour his heart swims. When a hybrid sea creature is spotted, his father makes him an offer that is too tempting to refuse, one that could change the course of his destiny. Beneath the waves, Zara's underwater kingdom is choking on pollution and her people are suffering. Despite the dire state of her home, Zara has refused to claim her rightful place on the council. After a family is destroyed by human encroachment, she vows to put an end to the devastation wrought by the two three-legged monsters from above. As fate would have it, Vestat, a feared privateer with a hidden agenda and a drawer full of secrets, intercepts both Dorian and Zara during their desperate quest. Spurred on by his own pursuit of justice, Vestat devises a plan that intertwines their fate, leaving the future of both the sea and land hanging in the balance as the three navigate treacherous waters and fragile alliances. I feel like this might be a love triangle. We shall see. I do dip my toe a little bit into fantasy, romantasy. It's normally YA, so I'm intrigued to see how I go with this one, but obviously not my normal genre. I don't have the audiobook for this one, so this one is the first book that I'm picking up physically. So I'm hoping to start this one today and get my thoughts and feelings into it. And the fourth and final book that is on our TBR that could be featured in this video, or will be, is The Witches of I've been calling it Vardo, but I have actually started listening to the audiobook, and it's Vargo. It's Norwegian. So in this book, you are following three women who, it's based in Norway 1662, which is a dangerous time to be a woman when even dancing can lead to accusations of witchcraft. Recently widowed Zigri embarks on a doomed affair with a local merchant. She is sent to the fortress at Vargo to be tried as a witch. Then her daughter Ingeborg sets off into the wilderness to rescue her mum. Accompanying her on her quest is Maureen, whose wild nature and unconquerable spirit gives Ingeborg the courage to risk all she has to save her family. And then also captive in the fortress is Anna, once the King of Denmark's mistress, who has been sent in disgrace to the island of Vargo. What will she do, and who will she betray to return to her privileged life court? In an age weighted against them, these witches of Vargo refuse to be victims. They will have justice. All they need to do is show their power. So I have started listening to the audiobook, like I said, and I will give you my thought in a clip because I've got me starting the timer. So we'll cut to that now, and then you'll come back to me and I'll give you my thoughts so far. I am going to start the timer now and head out for my walk. I have my headphones. We're going to listen to an audiobook. I will catch you up on what the audiobook is about, because we are starting book one. Is The Witches of Vardo on audio, and then I'm also going to hopefully start A Tide of Treason today physically, because these are the two books on my TBR that I really don't want to read. They're like the worst books in terms of my mood, what I like to read and stuff like that. So on my TBR, in my opinion. So we're going to get those started today and hopefully get a chunk of the timer down. I have looked at The Witches of Vardo, and it's a historical fantasy, so I think I'm not going to be able to listen to it on my normal speed, because generally with fantasies I need to slow it down. So I think it's going to take me around 8 hours to listen to the full audiobook. The audiobook's quite long. It's like 16 hours, which looks like an all-length book, but I think if I remember rightly, the text is really small. So I'm gonna listen to that now, see if I can get into it, see if I can kind of listen to it on my walk. But we've got quite a long walk today because I need to get quite a lot of steps in. So hopefully we'll be able to get a good hour and a half to 2 hours knocked off the timer now. So I'm gonna go and do that, and I will check back in when we've got a bit more of an update and give you like a timer update and stuff like that. Like I said in the intro, I have started this book. I am on page 88, chapter 12, which is about 21% through. I was so confused listening to the audiobook originally, because each chapter is told from a different woman's point of view. Now, I didn't realise that until I got home, because I was like, there's two separate storylines going on here. You've got one by a fisherman town about like a mum and her daughters and their sisters, and then you've got one and she's been trapped away in this fortress place. And I got myself really confused, not realising that I was like, is it a past present timeline? Is it kind of like the past timeline is back at the fish merchants when she was younger, and then the present timeline is when she's been locked away? But I've come home, looked in the book to find where I was to update my place on Goodreads, and realised that they are from different people's perspective in the chapter. That makes more sense, gives me a little bit more understanding in the story. I am still baffled by it. It's still not my genre, but having the audiobook I feel will be a really good way to consume this for me, because I fear I wouldn't want to actually physically read this, because the writing is tiny and the chapters have a tendency to be quite long, which is just not they don't go well together for a fantasy. So I believe I'm at 22.5 hours on the timer. I think I listened to about an hour and a half. So that is how we're doing so far. I need to get some editing done and just do some computer admin work, and then I'm hoping to go back to reading. I probably will pick up A Tide of Treason physically this evening rather than any more of the audiobook, but these are the two books that we are starting with. I believe this audiobook's going to take me about 7 hours to get through, so that's a good chunk of the time. That leaves us with 15 hours left, and that's without obviously reading this one, so not 15 hours. It leaves us with 17 hours left, and I think Liar is about a 3-hour audiobook. These are obviously on the speeds that I'm listening to. I believe this one's about 8.5 to 9 hours, and this one is 16.5 hours. This one I'm having to listen to slower than what I probably would Thriller, just because there's a lot more to kind of get my head around in this one. So these two books should definitely be done in this video. The Trial I do have on audiobook as well, so if A Tide of Treason is proving to be quite difficult to get into and is taking a long time to read, then these 3 books could potentially be all done on audiobook and we're just physically reading this one, or whatever we're doing. I am hoping to get this video done within a week. It is currently Sunday the 1st of February, so I'm hoping to film this video within the week and get the 24 hours done. But if you've been around for a while, these videos tend to take me a lot longer because I feel like I read quite a lot during a day, and it turns out I really don't. So I'm hoping to get this done within the week and get a couple more hours locked in today. But yeah, we will see if any of these books actually surprise me, because like I say, this video came to mind because I was going to do a 24-hour readathon, like mood reading, and then I pulled my TBR and I was like, my TBR doesn't excite me at all for February. So I was like, let's see if I can get as many of them done in a 24-hour readathon. If we can obviously get all 4 of these done, that will be amazing, because then we'll be left with Catching Fire, which I'm so excited to get into because I actually finished The Hunger Games yesterday and I do just want to continue and binge this book. But I know that if I do that, then I'll just move straight on to the rest of the series, and I'm not wanting to necessarily pace myself with it, but I don't want to neglect my other videos. And Kiss and Don't Tell will then hopefully be being read in a mood reading vlog, which I'm hoping next week, where I can just kind of allow myself to mood read as much as I want. So I'm gonna stop rambling on now and get into my admin work, and then I will come back to you with kind of where I'm at towards the end of the day before I get into bed. I will be reading obviously in bed later as well, so hopefully that will help cut down a bit of the time as well. Each night I read for about an hour to an hour and a half if I'm like going to bed on time, so that alone cuts down quite a bit of time. I'm gonna go get my admin done and then I'll check back in with you guys later. Good morning guys, happy Monday. I've just done my workout, which is why I look like this. I wanted to do a bit of a time check with you guys because I ended up not reading for as much as I wanted to yesterday. I wanted to get quite a significant amount of the timer done and we didn't. So I ended up FaceTiming my best friend last night instead of going straight to bed, so I didn't get as much time done, but we did like break into the 22 hours. So we've got, I'll put it on the screen as well, I think it's 21 hours, 44 minutes and 5 seconds left. When you equal it out across the next 7 days, so if I can get done by next Sunday, it's about 3 hours and 7 minutes a day, so that is doable. I don't work obviously Saturday and Sunday, and I'm not working Wednesday, so hopefully on those 3 days I can catch up on either any time that I've missed from Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or even on Wednesday if I can kind of do a little bit more, if I go out for like a longer walk, or I don't know, I sit and read a bit more. But with that, last night I obviously started our physical book that we're reading, so I started A Tide of Treason and I am on page 33 chapter 2, so I'm not that far in at all. What I will say is I obviously read the synopsis on the back and it's talking about Dorian and it's talking about Zara and it's talking about Veshak. The prologue is completely different. The prologue is 21, or the prologue's quite long. How long is it? The prologue is 17 pages long and it follows different characters. I believe it follows how the two characters or the two kingdoms came together originally and how that was kind of in some sort of a misguided alliance. But I got very confused reading that and I was like, if this whole book is like that, I'm not going to enjoy it. Reading chapter 1 was a little bit more easier to understand. I will also say this is classed as a queer romance, so there is going to be some sort of or sapphic notion. I'm not sure which. I think there's already an element of I believe in there, but I'm wondering whether it's also sapphic. We shall see. But yeah, so far I'm just mostly confused. I've read 32 pages or 30. I'm on page 33 and 17 of that was complete and utter confusion. So it did take me a little while to get into this. I did have YouTube on in the background, so I wasn't fully locked into the book, but I'm hoping to obviously read a little bit more today whilst at work. We get an hour lunch, and depending on how much marking I need to do depends on how much I'll read of this, but I tend to read during our lunch times whilst I'm just sat around eating lunch and not doing a lot, so hoping to get a bit more read then. And then I'm meeting my friend after work for a walk, but I finish work quite considerably before her, so I've got some errands to run, and then I'm gonna just sit and like read until she gets there. So I'm hoping to get a bit more done today. I was meant to read this morning whilst doing my workout, but I woke up late and I saw that there were some YouTube videos and I was just like, I need the motivation to work out and not either get locked into the story that I get kind of distracted from my workout, or vice versa if I don't get locked into the story and I'm still distracted from my workout. So I was like, I'll just lock in and put a YouTube video on. So I put on Rachel's new video that was out last night. So I'm gonna go because I need to get ready for the day, but hopefully I'll get some reading done today, and then I will check in with you guys later on, probably this evening, just to let you know how much I've actually managed to get done during the day before I go to bed, and then see you again tomorrow morning, I guess. Okay guys, it is currently Monday evening. I checked in with you guys this morning when I was doing my workout and said I had about 21 hours 44 left, I think. So obviously I said we need to read about 3 hours a day to get our timer down for the weekend, so then we can be finished by Sunday. So far, and it's 9:20, I've read a grand total of just under half an hour, so I'm now on 21 hours and 17 minutes. I will be reading a little bit more tonight before going to sleep, more just to help me get to sleep than for the sake of reading. The issue I've got is that neither of these books are my thing. Now, do I DNF and just accept the fact that they're not my type of books? Maybe, but I'm also like, I don't want to DNF 2 books, and what happens if I actually end up really enjoying them and it's just I'm just a bit lost to start with? I think the Witches one, audiobook wise, I will actually be able to kind of get through, and I think I will find some enjoyment in listening to the story. I'm kind of intrigued as to how the 3 different storylines are going to match up, so that one's okay. It's just I haven't been on a walk by myself today. I went for a walk with my best friend because I haven't seen her in a little while, so she came around here and we went for a walk just in my local area to like catch up, so that's absolutely fine. I do just think I need to prioritize reading. I don't understand why like everyone else is like, yeah, give me a challenge and it really ups my reading and I get loads of reading done, like 24-hour reading challenge. I get loads of reading done. Give me a challenge and I don't want to read, because I'm like, oh, I think it's because I know I've still got like 21 hours to go, and I'm like, that's just such a long time, and I know that I was meant to get like 3 hours done today and I just haven't. So it's not ideal, but I'm hoping I just need to prioritize reading over the next few days. I mean, tomorrow I won't be as much because I am working during the day, and then my grandma is having her cataracts eye surgery tomorrow. I'm going round to hers in the evening just to kind of keep her company, make sure she's okay and everything. So I will go around to hers in the evening for a little bit, and then I'll be coming back here to sleep. But I do still have Wednesday off, so I'm hoping I need to go for a run on Wednesday, and I'm seeing my friend, and then I'm picking up my niece from school. But I'm hoping in and around that I won't have much computer work and stuff like that to do. I'm not doing my coursework anymore, so that kind of alleviates that side of it. So I feel like that is really beneficial. So basically when I'm not working or whatever, I have got nothing to do. There's always bits and pieces to do, but I'm finding like today my best friend came round for a walk, and we went for a walk at about 5 o'clock. I'd already had dinner and I was ready for bed when we came back. I literally was ready for bed, and rather than coming in my room and just settling down and like allowing myself to have a nice early, I was literally ready to get to bed at about 7 o'clock. I was like, yeah, I can settle down, I can have a nice early night, I can get into bed, get into my PJs and stuff like that. And I just was like, oh, I don't want to go and sit in bed and read. read because I'm not interested in the stories. So I think I'm going to try and push through the next day or two, see what it's like on Wednesday. If I'm still struggling, I might gear shift from my physical book from A Tide of Treason to The Trial, and see how I feel about this one, and maybe try and read that one, because I think if I can get the time down, I will be more motivated to do it. So if I can get like the timings down and I get further into it, then actually sitting down and reading A Tide of Treason will be okay. I think as well the book is just confusing me a little bit, but I'm gonna sit with it, because basically today I ended up reading, when I did read, with 2 children in the room because of lunchtime and stuff like that, so I wasn't like fully focused on what I was doing. So I'm hoping to carry on reading, get into it, and then I will enjoy it. But we're not much for, I literally have read a chapter today, so there's no point giving you any sort of bookish updates, just a time update of I ain't doing very well. I'm gonna go get into bed and try and read. I'm also not feeling very well, so I'm gonna try and read for as long as I can, but probably will crash out relatively soon. Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. No, Tuesday. It's Tuesday today. So yesterday I obviously came to you with an update saying I've hardly read anything, and I'd read like half an hour. That stands true. I ended up reading last night in bed for another half an hour, so I got the time down to 20 hours and 44 minutes. So we read for a total of an hour yesterday, which isn't great, but and it also was a full hour on my physical book, and we did not make a dent into it. So I've updated the Goodreads. So we're now on page 71, which is chapter 5, which is only 16% into this. So we've hardly read anything. This book is still confusing me. I don't have much of an update about that book because it confuses me to no end. I literally don't understand what's going on, and I'm hoping we've done the full cycle now of all the characters, and I worked out which one's the mermaid, I worked out which one's on a ship, and I worked out which one is on like the land. 1, maybe 2 characters are transgender, so one of our main characters is transgender, and then I think maybe one of the mermaids as well might be, but that hasn't been confirmed, so I don't want to definitely say that. And then I believe the guy on land might be queer. I'm not sure though, I'm not 100%. There's been kind of suggestions that he's been like is in love with another guy on land, but like I say, I'm not 100%, so I don't want to put that energy out there and then be wrong. However, the more exciting update is I am now at 20 hours and 3 minutes. I did get a screenshot of this one, so I'll put that one on the screen. I'm at 20 hours and 3 minutes because I decided this morning, do you know what? I need to prioritize reading this week, and to do that, I need to be listening to audiobooks kind of whenever I can. So if I'm working out, I need to have an audiobook on my headphones. If I am walking, obviously by myself, I wouldn't have it on when I was walking with friends, but if I'm out for a walk or on my walking pad, I need to have the audiobook on. Now, that will mean that a lot of like the TV that I consume will be put aside, but that is okay for a week. So this morning I've listened to obviously another 40 minutes, but that is of our audiobook, The Witches of Vargo. That means I'm now on 128, chapter 16, and that is 30% through, 33% of the way through. So I'm a third of the way through that one, which the woman who has been, so Zigri, who needs rescuing, has finally now been obviously taken to be tried as a witch, and so I believe the next couple of chapters is going to be when her and Anna, who's already at the camp or the fortress where Zigri's been taken, her and Anna are going to meet. And so that one's making a lot more sense to me now that I know about the characters and stuff, and I can kind of put them in my head and place the stories together. This one is confusing the absolute heck out of me. I have no idea what's going on, and I think because I'm physically reading it as well, like when I listen to the audiobook, I don't have too much to think about because I'm being presented with the information. I don't have to think and worry about trying to read it and digest it. I'm just being told it, which is always easier, or I always find that easier to digest information. So for me, that one I've come to terms with a lot quicker for that reason. But yeah, Tide of Treason I'm really confused by. Like I say, I'm gonna give it at least today and tomorrow with a Tide of Treason and just see how I go. If I can read a good chunk of it tomorrow and really get into it, then I will do. But today I am teaching, and then I'm at my grandma's in the evening because she's having surgery today, so I'm just gonna go and keep her company for a little bit. So I probably won't have much time to get physical reading done today, but I'm hoping to get out on another walk this evening for at least half an hour. So that will give me a bit more of a chunk of The Witches of Vargo done. But I don't think we'll have much of an update. I'm just hoping timing wise we can get at least another, I would be great to break into the 19-hour mark. So if I can read for another hour today, that would be absolutely wonderful, throughout kind of reading over lunch and reading on my walk this evening, and probably to and from work and stuff like that. I should be able to breach the 19-hour mark. If I can even breach the 18-hour mark, that would be absolutely perfect. But I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one, because obviously, where were we yesterday? We started the day on 22 hours, so we should have got to 19 yesterday and then 17 today. So obviously if we can break the 18-hour, we'll be getting back up to where we're meant to be. I think maybe we should have breached the, like, down into 16 something, but we should be where we need to be, so near enough. And then obviously tomorrow I'm not working, so hopefully that will mean that I can catch up. And I know I'll probably go for a longer walk tomorrow. I've got a run tomorrow and I'm going here, there and everywhere in the car, so that's a lot of audiobook time. I have recently been like, I'm not listening to audiobooks while I'm driving, but I think this week I'm gonna revert that rule and we are gonna listen to the audiobooks, because like I say, I would like to get this one done so I can listen to a thriller audiobook, and that might then help me get through A Tide of Treason, because I'm still listening to a book that is my genre. So I've got kind of the book that's my genre and then a non-favourite genre book to kind of pass the time. And also because The Witches of Vargo is the longest book that we've got audiobook wise, so I feel like once that one's done, that's a good chunk of time, and then A Tide of Treason will just be in the back burner. But yeah, I'm gonna go because I need to go for work, and I will speak to you guys later to give you an update, if not this evening, tomorrow morning, to give you an update on what time we're on, how I did today, and I'll check in with you guys later. Good morning guys. You join me from a dodgy angle because I'm just getting my shoes on to go for a run, but I realised I didn't check in yesterday and I'm rushing out the door this morning to get out for my run and drop my brother's girlfriend to work, but I needed to give you a time update, so I will put it on the screen for you as well. But we are at 17 hours and 43 minutes remaining. I did some maths yesterday and basically worked out that if I were to get back on track today, I needed to get down to about 12 hours and 26 minutes remaining to be on track for finishing on Sunday with an even amount of hours left. So my aim today is just to try and break the 13 hours, so to have 12 something on the clock left by the end of the day. So that will involve, so I think yesterday I ended up finishing on about 8 hours and 17 minutes. So as you can see, I've done some reading this morning, and we've got about 4 hours remaining. No, about 4 or 5 hours remaining till we can break that 13 hour. So I'm going to be doing a lot of audiobooking today. I'm hoping to try and potentially finish the audiobook of The Witches of Vargo. I will give you an update on this book because I am now 50% of the way through, but I'll give you an update slightly later on because like I say, I am running out. I am understanding it more though, and it is more interesting now. The plot has picked up, and so I am understanding it more and I am more interested in it. So I'm going to continue that one on my run this morning and see how we go with that. And I am just over 25% of the way through A Tide of Treason. We are on page 119 on chapter 8. So I'm slowly making my way through this. The bookmark being that far in now does like please me a lot because it makes me feel like I've actually made a dent in it. Whereas beforehand, I didn't feel like I'd read any of it. But I'm still not really understanding it that well, and I'm not really enjoying it. But I am going to try and read kind of a chunk today if I can. I have got lots of errands and seeing friends and stuff like that today because I'm not working, so I am gonna need to really kind of push through with the audiobooks as I'm driving around places and like going on my run and stuff like that. So I'm gonna push more for audiobook to be done and then try and get A Tide of Treason in as and when I can. But like I say, I'm not gonna force A Tide of Treason, and then hopefully we can start our thriller audiobook tomorrow. That will be good if we can start Liar by Leslie Pierce, as I am really looking forward to that story and just kind of getting something that I enjoy back, like a genre that I enjoy back on my radar, because although I'm enjoying Witches of Vargo and I am somewhat enjoying A Tide of Treason. I'm enjoying kind of trying to piece it together and see what happens. They're all just about to head out onto the sea kind of together, so not together as in not all three points of views have come together, but there was two characters out at sea and they've kind of intersected and interacted, and now the third one is about to head out to sea. So I'm hoping this is when we start to see the kind of the combination of them together and stuff. So I'm hoping we're about to get that kind of up of a fantasy book. We're about to get that like brought in, and we've just had like a load of world building, so I'm hoping this bit will become a bit more action packed and grip me a little bit more. But like I say, I am somewhat enjoying it. I'm just confused, and there isn't much of me that's like I need to pick it up, or like I want to pick it up. A lot of it's I need to pick it up for the vlog, but I think actually for a book like this, which I am not generally intrigued by, this is actually the best motivation I can have, because it's making me read it and I am enjoying it. So yeah, I've got to go because I'm now running late, but I will speak to you guys soon when I've got a bit more of an update on timings, and probably can give you a bit more of an update on both the books later on. Good morning, guys. So I didn't update you yesterday because there was not much to update you on. Last night I went to bed, before reading in bed and a little bit this morning, my timer was on 15 hours and 39 minutes. It means I hardly read yesterday at all. I read for about 2 hours, and you will be shocked to know that that was all the physical book. I didn't pick up the audiobook at all yesterday, which I'm really annoyed about, because I've worked it out that even if I just picked it up whilst I was running and I don't know, like running and traveling to and from, I definitely would have got at least another hour off of our time. And so having not done that means we are still just over the 15-hour mark. We're on 15 hours and 2 minutes now that I've read for a little bit more this morning. I am hoping to read at least another chapter before I go to work this morning, and that will get us just below the 15-hour mark. So we did not reach the 13 hours that I wanted to yesterday. Even with the audiobook, I think we would have been pushing the 13 hours, but we would have broken 14. So the fact that we haven't done that is really annoying, but I feel like as long as I can break 10, so that's what, 5 hours today, and between today and tomorrow, so it's like 2.5 hours each, which if I'm audiobooking, which I will be, that is actually so doable. So as long as I breach the 10 before the weekend, I should still be able to finish it on the weekend. I don't have many plans on the weekend, and I usually go for quite long walk on both Saturday and Sunday, so I'm thinking even if I do my normal like hour-and-a-half walk, that should be around, like that would obviously take down 3 hours without even trying, so I'll go from 10 hours down to like 7 hours without even trying, and then it's just 3.5 hours left each day, which sounds like a lot but is completely doable when I don't have work and everything in the picture. So that's kind of the plan at the moment, is to get down as far as we can. But I obviously read this book for a considerable amount yesterday, and we are now on page 251, chapter 21, so we are now over halfway, and I am actually really enjoying this book. I did come to this kind of negatively at the start, going I'm not going to enjoy obviously A Tide of Treason or The Witches of Virgo, because like they're just not my style, and to be fair, they aren't my style. And The Witches of Virgo I got into quite easily. The issue I've got with this one is I don't want to pick up the audiobook. When I'm into the audiobook, I'm enjoying it, but I have to really force myself to read the audiobook, which means that we are not getting and we're not seeing a lot of progress with that one quickly. So we are getting a lot of kind of itty bitty starts, so I'm going like, oh, I read, like once I'm reading it, I'm reading for hours of it. But when I, like yesterday, I put my music on to travel to my run, and I was really enjoying my music, and I was just like, I don't want to put on my audiobook, so I didn't force myself to do it. So with that book, like it is interesting, but I'm just not gripped by the story. And then A Tide of Treason happened exactly how I said it would, where I was like, it's really boring, but it's just world building. And then not long after that clip where I was like, I think we finished with the world building, two of them interacted with each other and found out, like, it's not really a twist because I kind of saw it coming, but found out how they are connected. And then like a few chapters later, the third person, which a few chapters later is like a few chapters of action, the third person person, the third POV, joined them on the ship as well, and they've just, or one of them has just found out who that third POV is, and like the relation to the story. And so I think they are, obviously they're not pirates, but they are on ship, and I think they're just about to go and complete like the main mission of the story. So they're going to go to the kingdom, and like that's going to be the next thing. So like I say, we're over halfway now, and I feel like the traveling side of it, which obviously it's a book about ships in the sea, so I expected a lot of traveling, so the traveling side of it I think is nearly done, and we're going to go to the kingdom. And I think once that kicks in, the action pack will be so much that I'll be gripped and want to carry on. I am quite gripped now, like I need to know what happens, I want to know how they're going to resolve it all. I have a guess at the ending, but that's purely because within me, like the happy ending would be that this happens, but I'm not sure. I also did just want to say on this, A Tide of Treason, I potentially have misgendered one of the characters. So one of the characters, Vishak, is actually goes by he, him pronouns. So I haven't edited the clips back yet, but I am just aware of the fact, and normally I wouldn't worry about addressing it too much, but it's a big plot point in this is that he is transgender. So I wanted to come on here and just say, like, it is he, him pronouns. If I've said she or her at any point, I'm very sorry. It was never my intention to misgender him, and I don't know how it's happened, because even on the back he is referred to as a he. I think for some reason I read the name and that went straight into my brain as it was a she, and I don't know why, but I did just want to come on and clarify that Vishak is he, him, and I'm sorry that if I have misgendered him. But so you've got Dorian, who is he, him, Vishak, who was born female but goes by he, him pronouns and is actively transgender, and then you've got Zara, who is a she pronoun. And so I believe potentially there could be a couple of romances that are going to happen by the end of the book. There's two characters in here which are kind of forbidden love that I really hope get together by the end of the book and are like happy together. And then I also think the other two will probably get together, and that will be a really sweet romance, because at the moment they're in that conflict stage. So I am really enjoying it, and it is really well written. Like, it's an indie published book, but it is really well written, and like I say, I'm enjoying it. I didn't think I would, so I was kind of prepared to rate this one quite lowly, as well as The Witches of Vargo. I was prepared to rate them both quite relatively low, but I'm surprised. I am surprised by both of them. I think these types of stories always interest me, and I'm always hooked, and I always enjoy them, but I just never credit myself enough to get past that kind of confusing world building. Like, I don't connect to the fantasy world building that well, and I do find that section of these books really confusing. So for that, I need to, like, I know I need to just stick with it and get to the me parts. So this is halfway through. We're just over 15 hours left. I'm going to try and dedicate a lot of time today to at least the audiobook while I'm driving around, and then try and get to bed early-ish tonight, because I didn't manage to get to bed as early as I wanted to last night to read as much as this. So trying to get to bed as early as I can tonight to carry on reading this book, because I actually do really need to know what happens, and I've only got like 170 pages left. So this one should be finished within the next couple of days if I can actually dedicate time to it, because I think, like I say, once the action starts picking back up again, I'm going to be hooked. So yeah, I will check back in with you guys later when I've got a time update, and if I've got any like bookish updates as well, because like I say, hopefully listening to the audiobook of The Witches of Vargo, and then I can generally read this one on my lunch. So hopefully with both of those things, I'll have a decent time and a decent book update for you. Good morning, guys. Happy Saturday. So I don't actually think I filmed any clip yesterday or Thursday since Thursday morning. So that is because we did not do very well. I think I started the day yesterday on 13 hours and 30 minutes. I ended the day on 13 hours and 3 minutes. I have come to that point of the 24-hour reading timer week that I'm just slumping, and I just don't really want to read. I want to sit, I want to watch TV, I want to watch YouTube. I don't want to be reading constantly. But this is the final push to try and get it done this week. I will continue on next week if I need to, but I'm hoping, 13 hours across 2 days is a lot, but basically today my aim is to finish my audiobook, The Witches of Vargo, and finish A Tide of Treason. I've got 3 hours left on A Witches of Vargo, and A Tide of Treason will probably take me around 2 hours to finish. That should get us down to about 8 hours, and after I've done those two, I also would really like to start our second audiobook, Liar, and then I'm in two minds. Do I just keep that to an audiobook, or do I audiobook and physically read it to try and read that book through? Because then even with just listening to the two audiobooks, we will then still have 2 hours left of reading time. And I don't think I updated you, because Wednesday night I had quite quite a severe headache. I couldn't read with the lights on. When I've got really bad like migraine style headaches, I can't have the lights on, like noise and stuff like that doesn't bother me, it's the light. So I picked up my Kindle and started Kiss and Don't Tell by Megan Quinn. I literally read the prologue and first chapter because I can have this with the black background on and then I can still read to try and like send myself off to sleep. So that's the update at the moment. Like I say, I'm not doing too great timing wise, but I'm hoping today I don't actually have any plans until around 6 o'clock this evening, and it's 7:30 now. So I'm hoping just to do like quite a big audiobook day, basically be attached to my headphones all day. I need to work out, I need to get my steps in, I need to go shopping, I need to clean my room. So all of those things are not heavy kind of focus things. So there's things that I can do whilst listening to my audiobook. So that is the plan. And then hopefully we can get even just finishing those 2 books, we should get it down to 8 hours. So I'm hoping we can get it down less than 8 hours today, and that should be good. If we can start like the next audiobook as well and get about halfway through that, I would be really happy, because then tomorrow it would be finishing off that audiobook and getting through the whole of the other book as well, which is doable. It's a lot, but that is doable. And then we can try and top up the 2 hours somewhere, probably reading the Kindle book, which means we won't finish this one, but we will finish this one off in a mood reading vlog. So that is the plan of action moving forward. Let's see how much of our audiobooks and reading we can get done today. First priority this morning is going to be to finish this one, because it's just such a honker of a book. As I'm going out and about today, if I wanted to sit down and read, kind of, I wanted to go somewhere and read, I don't want to be having to kind of lug this book around anymore. Actually, I could just take my Kindle with my Kindle book on it. So I'm going to do that, and I will check back in with you guys when I finish this one and I've got a time update for you or something. Good evening, guys. It is Saturday evening. It's currently 5:15 and I have had an exceptional reading day. I feel like I've done nothing but to read, but it's put me in a very, very good position. So I have just broken the 8-hour remaining mark, which should mean that obviously with reading more tonight and then tomorrow we will be able to finish this 24-hour readathon this weekend. So with that being said, I have finished The Witches of Vargo and A Tide of Treason. So I finished both of these books. What I'm going to do is, in the sense of conserving time now, I'm going to do a wrap up of all the books that we finish in this vlog at the end. And also I'm not got great lighting right now, but I have finished both of these books. So obviously I have now started the Liar audiobook, which I have started, literally I'm on chapter 3, so I've only just barely skimmed the surface, but I was listening to that whilst finishing off the last couple of bits that I was doing. And obviously with that, I'm also going to carry on physically reading reading Kiss and Don't Tell. So those are the 2 books that I'm working on now. If Liar should take about, or will take about 3 hours, so obviously that will get us down to about 5 hours left, and then the 5 hours will be taken up between reading Kiss and Don't Tell and reading The Trial. So hopefully we can finish Liar and then maybe even The Trial. I think that might be my better option, because I obviously can do other things whilst listening to an audiobook, but we shall see what route I end up going down. Obviously I might end up reading a bit more of Kiss and Don't Tell than I expect, but we shall see. But I will check back in with you guys when I've got probably an update later on when I'm just about to go to bed, to give you an idea of what timing we're on. I am dropping my parents out in about an hour because they're going out for dinner. So I am going to just chill out now, probably either pick up my ebook or listen to a bit more of my audiobook and do a bit more reading. And then yeah, just basically I'm just chilling out. I'm literally just reading for as much as I can. The more I get done today, the less I need to do tomorrow, and that is what we want, because it has been such a heavy reading day today. And obviously if I've just broken the 8-hour mark, I've only read for like 5 hours so far today, which is a lot, don't get me wrong, but obviously the more I read today, the less I need to read tomorrow. And if I'm feeling like 5 hours is a lot today, tomorrow the thought of, if I didn't do any more, having 8 hours to read is obviously a considerable amount. So I am going to be home on my own tonight, so it will be kind of a heavy reading evening. I probably will switch between the audiobook and the physical book, or my ebook, throughout the evening, just because sometimes listening to an audiobook I find can be quite boring and I want to actually read something. But I will check back in with you guys later when we have a better time update, and yeah, I will speak to you guys in a bit. Okay guys, you join me at 20 to 1 in the morning, but I will put the time here. We're on 4 hours and 52 minutes left. I am 90% through Liar, our book, and I will be finishing it tonight because this is the audiobook that I'm listening to. So that should get us to around about 4 hours 45 minutes, 4 hours, anywhere between 4 hours and 40 and 4 hours and 30 minutes left. So that will be obviously a really good dent in our time ready for tomorrow. So we'll have less than 5 hours to go tomorrow, which will be the 3-hour audiobook of The Trial, and then Kiss and Don't Tell I will read a bit more of. So I will give you further thoughts and everything on the books tomorrow, because obviously I didn't give you like a midway check-in on this book. Just know this book has gripped me and I've wanted to keep going, which is obviously a good sign for me to kind of sit and really want to listen to it continuously throughout the day, is a really good sign. So I'm going to go and finish this off and then get to sleep because I am tired, but I will speak to you guys tomorrow with thoughts, feelings, updates on where I am in the morning. I have an update and a half for you guys. So I ended up, like I said, finishing Liar last night. Now, I realised I never gave any updates. I kind of said to you at the time I was enjoying it and we'll see how I feel. So I'm going to give you a bit of a brief synopsis, but I am going to do my hair at the same time. So this is the book we are talking about. I am going to now put it down because I want to do my hair. So Liar. In Liar, you are following Amelia, and she is someone who, she works for a magazine or a newspaper company, and she just sells the advertising. Like, she wants to do more but she doesn't at the moment. She just sells the advertising, and she at the point of writing this is actually set back in 1980 something. Let me have a look, see if it says 1970. I thought, yeah, 1970. And at the time of this being set, the bin men in London have gone on strike, and they basically have said that they're not collecting any rubbish. So with that being said, the streets are filled with rubbish and it's like disgusting out there. There's piles of rubbish everywhere. And basically Amelia is walking home from work one day, and she isn't the richest of people. She's quite poor. She lives in a kind of a shared house. She's had a bit of a troublesome upbringing, but she's kind of escaped that to live in this shared house with like shared bathrooms, shared bedrooms. So she isn't the most well-off person. She is quite poor, and she is walking home and sees these boots which she's been seeing on advertisements everywhere, and they look brand new, and she's like, no one is looking. They have just been thrown out. They look like they've hardly been worn. They also look like my size. I'm just gonna go and take them. As she grabs the boot, it is attached to the leg of a woman who is deceased. So you're then following her, she kind of worms her way into the life of the family of the deceased girl, and then this happens again and again. So there's 3 murders within this book, and you're following, at first you suspect someone in her life. Basically you're following her try and be a detective as well as a journalist to figure out what is going on in the story and who the murderer is. And I really enjoyed it. I ate it up. I'm still sitting on ratings for a minute, but I do have a time update for you guys. So obviously, like I said, last night we were on about 4 hours and 50 odd minutes. This morning I have done nothing, but basically I've literally just got showered and changed, and it is 2:30. So before that I have done nothing but literally sit in my bed and listen to my audiobook, which on reflection, when I looked at it again, is actually going to take 4 hours of reading time and not the 3 that I thought. So we're not going to have as much leftover time at the end. But obviously I have started The Trial by S.R. Masters. This is also not what I expected. So when I looked in the book, each chapter is split down into like sub chapters basically. So it's got different numbers, and I expected it, because it is a drugs trial, I expected that each subchapter was following the POV from someone else doing the drugs trial, which I actually think would have been a really cool concept. But you're not. You are following one person's point of view, and they've just for some reason broken the chapter down into sub chapters. So in this book you are following Eli. Is it Eli? No, I don't think it's Eli. Who are we following? Elle, that's it. So you are in this book you are following Elle, and Elle is living at home still with her mum, who is a unlikable character. She's untrustworthy. be where they're not good with money. Elle's like, I want to go on holiday. Something happens to her at work. I want to go on holiday. She books a holiday. She tells her mum about it. Her mum comes home saying, I've got myself into trouble. I need some money. So Elle cancels her holiday and gives obviously the money to her mum, and then sees this free clinical trial, which is a holiday. It's basically they're advertising it as, come along, take some drugs for us, and you will get an all-inclusive paid trip to the Canary Islands. So she's like, well, I've kind of got nothing to lose. They've said that there's no side effects. She obviously didn't read the contract correctly. They sent a summary sheet along with it. So she's like, I'm just reading that. And she's gone on this holiday with these group of other characters who are all there for different reasons, which you don't truly find out. So you're there, and obviously with the drugs, things start happening to certain characters and they start behaving in certain ways. And so Elle is getting a little concerned and a little confused as to what is happening and why nothing is really being done. And I've got to the halfway mark now where things are starting to take that kind of turn. I am enjoying it. I am confused as to why the chapters are broken down into sub-chapters. That side of it, don't understand. But the rest of it, I do feel is I am enjoying. I am hooked. I am now at the timer of 2 hours and 13 minutes left, and I have just under 2 hours of reading time of this one left. I do need to go out for a walk now, so I will be taking my audiobook out with me for a walk. But this does mean that if I finish this today, I think I will have around 18 to 20 minutes of reading time left, which is obviously completely doable for today. With it only being 2:30, we're going to finish our timer today, which A, is amazing because that does mean that I completed the challenge that I set for myself that I would get it done within the week, but B also means that I can start my mood reading vlog on Monday. So obviously the plan of action for the last remaining time is finish the trial, because I'm going to go on a walk now, which will be about an hour walk. So then I'll come back. I want to do some editing. I want to do an hour's worth of like journaling and bits and pieces. So I think what I'll probably do is I'll probably go for my walk, come back and do some journaling, and then stop reading for a little while, do some editing on my laptop, watching some YouTube or some Netflix or whatever, and then do my last remaining reading sprint this evening, which will mean that we will not finish Kiss and Don't Tell. That was never in the plan to be finished within this video anyway, but with my mood reading vlog starting tomorrow, that book, whatever book we don't finish today, will be finished in next week's vlog. So that's obviously exciting. I did just want to touch on the fact that I forgot to say, and I was going to do it in my wrap up, but I think I will do as well, but I did want to say, if you got to this point as well, The Witches of Vargo, if this interested you, please check trigger warnings. I forgot to mention at the time of filming about this book, there is quite strong description of SA in this book, and I feel like it could be highly triggering to those of you that are affected by any mention of SA or assaults as in that sense. So please track trigger warnings for this book. It's not something that I necessarily expected going into it. I feel like, I mean, you're talking about the witch's trial back in the 1662, so you can kind of expect there to be like not very nice things, but I am not someone who is affected by a lot of things, and I never really track trigger warnings, but obviously I would highly recommend checking trigger warnings for this book. But I'm going to go now for my walk. I'm going to continue to listen to the trial and obviously whistle down our time. I probably won't check in with you again now until either I finish the time, or I might check in once I finish the trial and let you know just how long we've got left of reading time, because obviously that will just be taken up by Kiss and Don't Tell, as that is the book that I have started, and then I will give you my full views, synopsis, thoughts when the time has finished, and we will go through the recap of the books that we did manage to fit into this time. But I am so far really impressed with how well that I've done with this time, because a lot of the time for 24-hour reading times, I end up either giving up halfway through and just being like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't read as much as I should read and I waste a lot of the time. So I feel like this time round I have actually really dedicated a lot of time, and I think because a lot of the time I use my audiobooks, and I kind of, like yesterday, I managed to read so much yesterday just because it was audiobook, so I could do other things whilst doing it. But I am going to go because I've rambled on for a long time now, and I will check back in with you guys once we've got a further update. So I have just finished the trial, and I'm literally just hopping in quickly to let you know that I have 23 minutes left on the timer. We have had a few mishaps with this timer, so obviously I set the first timer, and then I think the mishaps have actually both happened today, which is crazy to think that I managed to keep it going for so long, and then today is the day that we've had issues. One time I completely forgot to restart the timer. I had been listening for about 20 minutes and was like, right, okay, I'm gonna have to just set a new timer with 20 minutes left. And then the same happened this evening. I forgot to restart the timer. I wasn't sure how long it was for, so I think I took off like 10 minutes because it was definitely 10 or more minutes, and I've carried on, which is why it's not quite where we thought the timer would be now, but we've got 23 minutes left. I'm gonna carry on reading Kiss and Don't Tell, but I'm gonna do that a bit later on. I'm doing some editing now, so I'm gonna go through and watch what I've edited down, and then we're gonna have dinner soon. So then once I've done kind of both of those and we sit down this evening, then I will do the last little bit of reading, probably before bed actually, because I do also want to do an hour's worth of journaling this evening as well, and just dedicate some time to that. So I will probably now leave reading until bedtime, which means I will check back with you guys tomorrow, let you know kind of where I get to and everything, and give you a full synopsis of our books, of our video, and yeah, I'll check in with you guys soon. So as you would have seen last night, we finished our 24-hour timer. I'm so happy to be able to say that to you guys because I just didn't think it would happen. So it's currently Monday, purely because I read for the remaining timer in bed, and then I've kind of got up ready for the day and thought I would film this ending clip. So obviously here is our TBR for this month. We've got Kiss and Don't Tell, Catching Fire, The Witches of Argo, Liar, The Trial, and A Tide of Treason. Obviously we said Catching Fire was not being read in this video because that is its own separate vlog, reading the whole of the Hunger Games, but we did manage to read A Tide of Treason, The Trial, Liar, Witches of Argo, and I'm 15% of the way through Kiss and Don't Tell. So that one will be finished off in next week's vlog, which is a mood reading vlog. So head over to that one next week if you want to see my thoughts and feelings on this one. But I won't be talking about this one today, and I will not be talking about, obviously, Catching Fire because I haven't read it yet. But we did manage to finish 4 books in this video, so I'm going to kind of rapid fire go through them and give you my thoughts and feelings about them because I am actually running late for work, so I do actually need to get this filmed. But I wanted to get this clip filmed this morning so that I knew it was kind of done. Okay, so The Witches of Argo, I ended up rating this one 3 stars. I did think it was really, really good. Please, 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 I implore you, check the trigger warnings because it is heavy, heavy topics. There's a lot of essay, there's a lot of abuse, there's a lot of kind of kidnap, entrapment. It's not a light topic. You're talking about witch hunt in the 1600s. This is a heavy book, and there is some fact in there, and the writer does go on to say at the end about and give you the true names of the people that this story is written about. So please, please, please go into this one tentatively. This is not my normal genre, which I think is why I only rated it 3 stars. I did enjoy the writing. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't gripped to the story. As you know, I rate off vibes, and this one just didn't give me a higher vibe than 3 star. It is a good book though, and I would recommend, if this is your normal genre, I would highly recommend. If it's not your normal genre, give it a go because I did find enjoyment out of it, and I do just think it is a harrowing book to read about such devastating events that actually did happen in the real world. And obviously I listened to the audiobook. I do think the audiobook was an interesting way to listen to it. I don't think it's necessarily like the better way to read it. I feel like the audiobook didn't add any more to the story than I feel like physically reading it would, but I would recommend the audiobook. It was a good audiobook. So then we also read A Tide of Treason at the start, and this book I also ended up giving 3 stars. I will say the author of this book is transgender, and I feel like that is why they did such a great way of representing transgender in this book. So Vershak, who is one of our main characters, is transgender and identifies as being male, and so I loved the way that it was a key point in his story to a degree, where they would talk about the binding and how he felt somewhat ashamed about it and didn't want people to know, especially he's the captain on this ship, and so didn't want his crewmates to think any differently of him for it. But it was like spoken about and it was known as the reader, but it wasn't this massive thing that was made into kind of a key point of the story, which it didn't need to be, because obviously this is fantasy. There was a higher element of the story, but I really liked how those kind of themes were interwoven into the story. I liked Dorian kind of realizing sexuality and the fact that he can love but doesn't want to touch and is asexual in that sense. I did really enjoy that, and just seeing Zara come to terms with her love and her kind of appreciation for another character was really good. The story, the plotline did grip me. I feel like if you are a fantasy reader, this one is a good one to pick up. The writing style was beautiful. If you don't read a lot of fantasy, I found that I could understand this story to an extent. I did find it difficult, but I do really struggle with world building and different worlds. That I know is something about myself. If you really enjoy fantasy, I would highly recommend you to pick this one up. It is one that I would highly recommend, as I did really enjoy it, but it was only 3 stars. Again, rating off vibes. It didn't grip me as much as I thought it would. It had potential. I just am not it's not my typical read. It wasn't for me, but it was a great book nonetheless. So 3 stars, please read it. And also it's indie published. Let's go support indie authors. Then we picked up the audiobook to Liar, and I picked this one up on Saturday, kind of hoping to try and get at least halfway through this book. Wasn't really thinking that that was going to be the case, but was like, if I can get somewhat into this audiobook, then that will help with the timer, because I finished both The Tide of Trident and The Witches of Argo on Saturday, and was like, that is a lot of reading, because I had 3 hours left on The Witches of Argo audiobook, and I had about 2 hours, I think, of reading time of A Tide of Treason left. So I was like, anything of this book will be great. I finished it. So we ended up reading or listening to the whole of this audiobook. In this audiobook, you are obviously following Amelia, who is the reporter that finds the dead body, and I just feel like the twists and turns were unexpected, but I just fully got gripped into the writing, into the storytelling, and just into seeing how the link between the characters, because you feel like the characters aren't going to link and then they all do. So I would highly recommend this book. I will be probably picking up more of Leslie Pierce's work, as I did really enjoy it, and the audiobook was, again, didn't add or take away anything from the experience. It's not one of these like produced audiobooks which I'm like, please read, like listen to the audiobook because it adds a lot to the vibe. It is just a simple read audiobook, but I did highly enjoy this one and would highly recommend, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And then our last book that I read and completed in this video was The Trial. Again, listen to this one on audiobook. I don't know how I feel about this book. I've ended up rating it 3 stars, but it does have the potential to go down to a 2 star. I like the premise of the plotline of this being this unknown drug trial that you have enticed people with, and the ending when you find out what the drug is and what it aims to do. I do really enjoy that. What I will say is I wish I went into this book, obviously the chapters, let me see if I can find like a chapter 1. The chapters are broken down, so you've got parts and then you've got chapters, and then each of the chapters are broken down into like subsections. Now I went into this thinking that that was different patients, so like when it said 1, that would always be patients 1 POV and you'd see how they're doing, and I feel like a story like that written would, honestly, I would have eaten it up, and I would love that because I want to know how each of them are taking it. However, constantly you are reading from the main character's POV, and it's just following her and her life. Elle is our main character, and you're just following her and her life and why she's there and what happened. I didn't like the twist at the end as to who it was. I didn't feel like it was necessary. I feel like actually having an outside company run the drug trial would have been absolutely fine. We didn't need to add that in, that he was like within them. And I also didn't like the ending, but I'm one that likes like all strings to be like bowed and tied up, and this one wasn't. I ended up rating it 3 stars. I thought it was a good thriller. It was interesting. It was slow at points. I feel like a lot of it didn't need to be in there. I don't know. I am stuck between that kind of 2 and 3 star camp of it just wasn't written the way that I thought it was going to be written, and for that really threw me, and it just wasn't the best in that sense. There was an unneeded romance. I'm just not sure about this book, but if the concept sounds good to you, pick it up. Just know going into it, it confused me being broken down into so many different parts, but I have heard and I have gone on Goodreads and so many people are kind of saying the same thing, but have really enjoyed it. So definitely one to make your own opinion about, but I would recommend, if you like the sound of it, to give it your own try. Obviously we all have different reading tastes, but it's not one that I would be recommending in the future. So with that being said, obviously we have finished this video. We managed to read 4 books and 15% of my Kindle Kiss and Don't Tell read. So that means we have out of 6 books for this month. It is currently the 9th of February. So we have read 4 out of 6 books this month already, which obviously means that my TBR is looking great for the rest of the month and is looking highly doable. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I know that 24-hour readathons are something that lots of people do love to watch and kind of enjoy, but I do find them quite hard to do myself. So I like to do one every now and again, and I sprinkle sprinkle them in, but I do lots of other reading challenges. If you guys can think of any reading challenges you would like me to do, then let me know down below, and I will speak to you guys next time. Goodbye.